Very good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Dan Walker and Louise Minchin.
Headlines for you at 6 o'clock this morning. The government insists that Oxford-AstraZeneca Covid vaccine is safe after more European nations pause its use.
The Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine is saving lives in the UK right now. So if you get the call, get the jab.
The taxi hailing app Uber will pay its UK drivers a minimum wage, holiday pay and pensions following a landmark Supreme Court ruling.
Does the vaccine rollout equal holiday time? Good morning. P&O become the latest company to ask for vaccine proof before boarding some of their trips. I'll ask the boss how it'll work.
Manchester City in complete control in the Champions League last night. They beat the German side Borussia Mönchengladbach 2-0 and cruised comfortably into the quarter-finals.
Good morning. Yesterday, Wales and Scotland had the warmest day of this year so far. Not going to be quite as mild across the board today, although it still will be mild. For many of us, it's going to be dry with some sunshine, but some showers in the southeast. I'll have all the details later in the programme.
Good morning, it's Wednesday, it's the 17th of March and the Health Secretary has insisted the Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine is safe and urged all UK citizens to get the jab as soon as it's offered.
Matt Hancock was speaking after Sweden and Latvia became the latest European countries to stop offering the vaccine following safety concerns. Dan Johnson has more.
Haben die Verimpfung des Corona-Vaccins von AstraZeneca.
Der Impfstoff von AstraZeneca, der von der Oxford University.
Across Europe, there are questions
about
the Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine as more countries suspend its use. In Italy, vaccination centres stand empty, whilst presumably coronavirus keeps spreading. The concern is blood clots. AstraZeneca says there have been 37 incidents of blood clots in the UK and EU, but that is following 17 million jabs. In Germany, 7 rare clots in the brain and 3 deaths have been recorded. Health officials there say the responsible move is to pause, investigate each case and re-evaluate. But the European Medicine Regulator says the overall rates of clots are actually lower than you'd expect in the general population. And delays could mean more COVID cases and more lives lost.
The damage to confidence in the vaccine just seems a dreadful price to pay in order to signal some sort of, yes, we are looking at safety and we're erring on the side of caution. This isn't erring on the side of caution, it's throwing caution to the wind.
In Austria, one batch of the vaccine has been held back, while others are still being given, leaving some people like Manfred concerned.
I wouldn't recommend to get it now for me. I'm a bit scared to get ill of the vaccine.
But Angelica's pleased she's had her first dose.
Because if you get COVID-19 and you have a really bad issues, you never know. Then it's better to take it.
Vaccine take-up in the UK is among the highest in the world, and the message couldn't be clearer.
The Oxford-AstraZeneca jab is safe. We know that over 10 million people have had it in this country, and that's what the British regulator says, but also the World Health Organization and even the European regulator.
A European safety review will be published tomorrow, and France has said if it gets the all clear, it will restart immediately. For some countries, this is about being careful to ensure confidence in vaccination programmes, but there's also awareness that doubts about vaccines can be just as contagious as viruses, and if one spreads, so will the other. Dan Johnson, BBC News.
More than 70,000 Uber drivers across the UK will start receiving the minimum legal wage from today, along with paid, holiday and pension rights.
It follows a ruling in the UK Supreme Court which could have a significant impact on the so-called gig economy for freelance workers. Our transport correspondent Caroline Davis has more.
It was the company that shook up the system, but the system seems to have caught up with Uber. After last month's verdict by the Supreme Court, it's announced that all of its drivers will be classed as workers.
For years, politicians and unions have said that you have been playing fast and loose with employment rights. Does this not prove that they were right all along?
I think the
the situation for employment in the UK has been ambiguous for some time by government.
You've taken advantage of those ambiguities, haven't you?
We have worked as hard as we can to try and provide drivers with a good way of earning, the flexibility that they want and the protections that they have. But we can now go further than we've gone before because of the clarity that the Supreme Court ruling brings us.
Drivers will still be able to work when and where they want. The company's minimum wage only applies once a driver accepts a ride.
Are passengers going to see their fares rise because this will be costly to you?
So we're not expecting to raise prices at the current time. We absolutely want to remain price competitive.
So is this going to come out of the driver's income instead? Where's that money going to come from?
Our expectation is actually we can grow the business by treating drivers well, bringing drivers onto the platform, and also by growing with cities as they unlock.
One drivers' union was pleased.
I wish they'd have done this 5 years ago. I wish they'd have listened then. However, they appear to be listening now, and this is a tremendous victory for working people in this country.
This decision could have implications across the gig economy.
Uber is probably the most well-known and potentially the biggest player in the gig economy, and other operators will be looking closely at this and thinking, well, after 6 years of litigation, Uber had to give in to the inevitable and agree that their drivers were workers. So we probably need to be doing the same.
This move is a fundamental change, and it's one that will be closely watched around the world. Caroline Davis, BBC News.
8 people have been killed in a spate of shootings at 3 massage parlours in the US city of Atlanta. At least 6 of the victims are understood to be women of Asian heritage, and police say it's likely that the same gunman was responsible for all 3 attacks. A 21-year-old man is being questioned.
Hair salons and garden centres in Scotland will be allowed to open from the 5th of April under a lockdown easing plan announced by the First Minister Nicola Sturgeon.
Residents will have to stay in their own local authority area until April the 26th, when shops and gyms will also reopen. Our Scotland reporter Alexandra Mackenzie is at a garden centre in Glasgow, and I know some people people there will be delighted that there are changing rules coming along.
Yes, absolutely. These rules are coming in quite slowly and quite cautiously. And you mentioned the 26th of April there. That's the main day when much of the economy is going to open up. So we've got to wait a few weeks until then. That's when hospitality will open up, retail and gyms. But a little bit before that, on the 5th of April, we'll see hairdressers thankfully opening up and garden centres like this one in the West End of Glasgow. Now, I'm joined by Martin McCarran. You heard yesterday that you're going to be able to open up on the 5th of April. How surprised were you by that, and what preparations have you got to put in place?
Well, I'd been planning for the start of April, so it wasn't a huge surprise. But at that point, obviously, it was just a guessing game, so it's good to get a definite date. We have kind of half stocked the place, so we're almost ready to go. We just need to call in the rest of the stock now, and we'll be ready to go.
And how difficult has it been? You've been closed for quite some time now, since around Christmas time. So how difficult has that been? There's quite a lot of plants here, so you're relying on getting stock through and obviously keeping it all fresh.
Yeah, it's been pretty tough, especially with the weather we've had as well. We've lost quite a lot of stock during those 3 months. But we've managed to get the place turned around and get it tidy and ready. We've been sitting in anticipation for this, so we'll be raring to go on the 5th.
And you are an outside business. Do you think you could possibly have opened up a bit sooner, because we are told it is a bit safer to be outside?
100% we could have, but I understand that there's a bigger picture as well, so I was just listening. Everyone's in the same boat and everyone's had to do the same thing, so that's the viewpoint I've took with it, you know.
That's great, thank you very much. Now, Nicola Sturgeon said in the Scottish Parliament yesterday that she was the most hopeful that she had been for a while, but also there was a note of caution. She said that these dates depend very much on suppressing the virus.
Alexandra, thank you very much indeed.
Well, Northern Ireland has also unveiled its plans to relax restrictions from next month. 6 people from 2 households will be allowed to meet in a private garden from April the 1st, and groups of up to 10 will be allowed to play sports outdoors. The First Minister, Arlene Foster, called the plans cautious but optimistic.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.